stuff, Pete. Good girl. Good girl. Having a good day, huh? Huh? Yeah. Cream. Oh, coming in hot. Here you go. Hey, cream. Good girl. How you doing? How you doing today? Garden looking good. Let me show you something in here, y'all. Let's get down in here and look at what's going on here. Alright, quick recap for those who haven't seen the progress of this garden. This is a no-till, no-dig garden. I've got a border made out of slabs of wood and then wood chips along the edge. And then underneath all of this, it has got cardboard first, and then a layer of mushroom compost, and then a layer of this compost, which is green waste compost. And then these paths are oak wood chips. Oak there, and then the outside is pine wood chips. And then I've got the pathways here are more of the green waste compost. The goal of this garden is, number one, I want to grow some really good food. I want to be able to eat from this garden all year long, and for the soil to improve over time, every year. And also I wanted to use it as a demonstration of what is possible as far as transforming a space that is really, before this, it was just yard, it was just grass. Transforming that and turning it into a space that is able to grow a lot of food for me, my friends. One thing I want to mention today is that this compost that I have has a pretty good amount of sand in it. I'm going to show you real quick over here how much sand we've got. You can see that this area specifically has quite a bit, but if you dig out a little bit, I mean, you have wood chips in there, you have all kinds of debris, you have some topsoil that was added, and this is about 1.5 to 2 years old compost, green waste compost. If you watch any of Charles Dowding's videos, you'll know that he likes to experiment with all kinds of different composts. You know, green waste compost, mushroom compost. He also makes some of his own compost there at his place, and then also like manure compost, all those different combinations. So I have this compost, and it has quite a bit of sand in it. Let me show you a close-up. So you can see all those particles, see all those sand particles? This is more of a sandy sample, but there's still quite a bit of sand in there. That's the compost that I've added. Let me go ahead and take a plug out of here. Of course, it's not going to be a very deep plug, but I'm going to take it out with this postal digger and show you the layers that we have of soil here to show you what we're starting with. Alright, pull that out. I'll show you here. So you can see that's where it came from. It should be, that sample should be a fairly indicative sample of the rest of the garden. Let's see what we have here. There we go. Okay, let's see what we got here. It kind of broke apart, which is actually nice. The fact that it actually broke apart means there's not too much clay in it. You can see a worm there. It's always a good sign. And right up at the top here, of course, you always see the more organic matter right up along there. In college, I was on the soil judging team, and fun fact, my team, even though I wasn't there, I was in Africa at the time, my team actually won the championship, for the national championship, so that's pretty cool. Go Vols. Alright, so you can see that my soil is actually fairly silty. Like, there's not much sand in there, there's not much clay. It's a nice combination of both. I haven't actually characterized it fully yet, but I'm thinking it's more on the silty side. So just a quick overview of sand, silt, and clay. Basically, you have the particle sizes. That's all it's describing, is the particle sizes. So sand is the biggest, and then you go to silt, and then to clay. All good. My soil is really not very clay or sandy. It's more of a combination, which is really nice to have actually. We have to meet our soils where they're at. So if you have a clay soil, that's going to be needing different types of treatment and of care than like a sandy soil, or the soil that I have, which is more silty. Sand is an awesome aspect. It can be an awesome aspect in the garden. It can also be pretty detrimental and harmful for your garden. Okay, so here it is. We have sand. Sand is larger particles of rock materials. Is it beneficial? Is it hurtful? Should we be adding it into our gardens? What should we think about sand as far as gardeners go? And should we be using it in our pots? All those good questions. I'm going to try to hit some of the high points there in this video. Sand is larger particles, so when you add it to soil, it's going to improve drainage. So water is going to flow right through it because the sand particles leave little gaps for the water to run through. Alright folks, let's set you up here and we'll go over the pros and cons of sand in your garden. Alright, quick little class here on sand in your garden. Here we go, the pros. Pros are that sand is larger particles, so whenever it rains, the water is going to filter through that soil a lot quicker than if it was like smaller particles and more compact like clay. Sandy soils tend to have great drainage. The water goes through, it's not going to stay there, it's not going to get soggy. Your plants are not going to usually struggle as much with fungal diseases or any kind of like rots or anything like that. Sand is good in that sense that it helps drainage. Another benefit of sand is that it will allow root systems, especially fibrous root systems. Fibrous meaning it's the plants like lettuce and the brassicas that really don't usually have like a tap root. All they have is like little tiny little roots that are running everywhere. Those ones have a harder time getting into more compacted soil. So like a clay soil, those little roots are going to struggle, but in a sandy soil they can, boom, once they hit the ground running with their first little roots, they can shoot out and they'll have greater access to the nutrients that are there and therefore grow faster and grow better. And in that same vein of thinking, we have root crops. Root crops, you know, they have to like think about a carrot. Carrot has to go straight down into the garden. And that's pretty tough stuff. That's hard work to go straight down in and to not like hit stuff and go weird directions and all that. So a sandy soil that has more sand in it is more capable of allowing that radicle, that first like big root of the tuber, or if it's like carrots or radishes or turnips, those can go straight down in and expand and get to their full size more easily. One more benefit of sand in your garden is that when the sun comes down in the springtime, it's going to hit those little particles of sand, those little rocks, and those are going to heat up a little faster and stay a little warmer longer than the rest of your soil. So it's going to help your soil heat up a little quicker than it would have if it was just clay or if it was just, you know, more silty. So that can be a benefit to speed up the warming process of your garden soil. And that's one thing that I'm hoping the sand will do in my compost, because I really don't have much sand here. So by adding that, I think it'll give it a jump start on the warmth factor. It might buy me like a week, maybe even 2 weeks of time. This is my first year here, so we'll have to see how that goes. But sand can be a heat factor. So those are some of the pros and the benefits of sand in your garden. There are some cons though. Those of you out there who have sandy soils, you know what I'm talking about. Sandy soils can be a hard thing to handle sometimes because it rains, the water is gone in a matter of hours. It doesn't hold the water. The water holding capacity of sandy soils is just not very good. Also, your nutrients are going to leach through. So sandy soils, because they have all that capacity for water to go through, they're going to have more of a tendency to leach your nutrients, because most nutrients are water soluble. So that means when the water comes through, it's going to be sifting through the sand particles, the rest of the soil, and it will capture some of those nutrients and then take them back down through the subsoil. So you'll lose your nutrients that way. Now a lot of our food production actually is out in California, and out there they've got some crazy sandy soils. It's not like, you know, nice humus rich organic stuff usually. A a lot of times it's sandy. And the way they do that is they plant their crops and then they fertilize with synthetic fertilizers. So because the soil out there is so sandy and porous, the nutrients from those water-soluble fertilizers that they're using are being sprayed out, and they go boom right into the soil, and the plants can just take them up like that. So basically those plants are being fed a lot of the time, most of the time they're being fed by mostly synthetic fertilizers. So that system works if you're using synthetic fertilizers all the time, but as soon as you don't have those synthetic fertilizers and you have just, you know, zero organic matter and mostly sand, they just become deserts again. So that's kind of an interesting system that works for now, but if we didn't have those synthetic fertilizers, that whole system would break down. Me personally, I like to add organic fertilizers in the form of compost and wood chips, soil, and just trying to build that organic matter on top of the soil so that we don't have the problems of fertilizing later. I don't have to fertilize my garden because it's fertilizing itself every year, and it's actually improving every year rather than degrading in value. So how do you manage sandy soils if you have a sandy soil? My recommendation is organic matter. Add organic matter. Pete Kanaris down in Florida deals with sandy soils all the time. He's an edible landscaper down there. I'll try to put a link to his page at the bottom because he's got some awesome content out there. Hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit of collaboration and get to go meet him and look at what he's doing down there. But he uses all kinds of wood chips. He just adds wood chips to the top of his soil, and what he's doing is he's improving the organic matter to try to. What he's trying to do is he's trying to balance out his soil. He has so much sand, he needs more water holding capacity. So he's adding in organic matter to be able to bring that back in towards the middle. It's all about balance, y'all. It's all about balance. So I think sand is going to be beneficial for my garden because I don't really have much here already. So folks, that is sand for you. It is an awesome aspect of creation. There's uses to it, it has benefits, but we have to use it wisely, and we have to, if we have a sandy soil, we have to steward that soil in a different way than we would like clay or silt. Hopefully that was helpful for everybody. It's a good day, bright and shiny. I love it. It feels so good. Tomorrow I hope to be getting into some more of the rock work. We'll be doing some pathways and things like that. Finish up those projects. Tell you what I'm really looking forward to is when we really start getting this garden growing and the edible landscaping up there, doing projects. This spring's gonna be awesome. Sand can be good for your garden, it can be very helpful, but in all things in moderation, right? All things in moderation. Folks, I've got a Patreon set up. If you didn't know about that, I'll post a link at the bottom. Basically, I'm just trying to put these videos out there to help empower you all and other people that will view the videos down the road to transform their available space into edible abundance, edible and beautiful abundance. So growing food around your house, on your windowsill, in the backyard, in the front yard, transforming your yard into garden. That's what I'm passionate about, empowering you all to do with my videos. I'm committed to put one out every day and to bless everybody with free content. One of my mentors is Justin Rhodes, and he really has encouraged me to just try to improve my game, try to improve my content every day by 1%. Just get better every day by 1%, 1%, 1%. And doing that is going to be beneficial for everybody, for me, for y'all. But in order to get better material out to you all and better content, higher quality video, I need to get a better camera, need to get some other equipment, some sound equipment, better recorder, stuff like that, fun stuff like that. And it would be extremely helpful to have help with that. So if y'all want to hop over there and see the options for Patreon, basically Patreon is just a way to support me and what I'm doing. Put this tool away here. Alright friends and fellow gardeners, I'm going to head out. Sand is beneficial in some ways, but also can be a con. Try to do your research before you start amending your soil to see what kind of soil you have. Whatever kind of soil it is, we need to adapt to whatever we have already. Sun is shining, it's a good day. I'll see you guys next time, tomorrow.